Friday morning. Folks, we made it to Friday here. This is McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world here on this Friday. And some escalation yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, and ceasefire still is intact, reporting by people out there as well. And what's that doing with the market? Well, we'll check that out with the Market Watch stocks we're paying attention to and local and national stories that you need to know for this Friday. Let's not delay it all. Let's get into it with our Market Watch. So there's a little bit of escalation. Let's put it this way. Iran tried to attack some U.S. ships rolling through the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. responded. Reportedly, no damage on the U.S. side. Big damage on the Iran side, as that happened last night or early this morning. Marco Rubio came out today and said U.S. expects an Iran response on the peace deal today. Markets are just kind of doing what they're doing, waiting for that information. Oil is steady right now. It is not going up nor down. Dow Jones right now, though, is up 161 points to 49,695. S&P 500's up to 63 points to 7390. NASDAQ's up 321 points here today to 26,127. The Russell 2K, well, that's up 5 points also, 2845 for the Russell 2K here today. Then you've got Bitcoin. Yeah, down technically today, but it did fall under that 80,000 level that it's been trading at here pretty much all week since Monday afternoon. 79,808 for Bitcoin here on this Friday. So the S&P 500's heading for the sixth winning week in a row as well. There's a strong jobs report we're going to talk about as our first story coming up here in a minute. But also the main thing driving this, well, it's the Iran deal hopes is what's driving the market today. We'll have to wait and see if we get anything back over the weekend and how that'll look for us on Monday coming up as well. Stocks we are paying attention to right now, lots of announcements on companies. Got to kind of go through and find good, bad, ones that are shocking. Well, there's one out there called Akamai Technologies, and this stock today is the big winner here on the markets. So far this morning, 16.31%, and it's even come down today, folks. It was up over 25% when the markets opened earlier today, about half an hour ago. They're a cybersecurity and cloud computing company. They said a leading U.S.-based frontier model provider that type of a company has committed a $1.8 billion over 7 years for its cloud infrastructure services. Akamai also reported a first quarter adjusted earnings beat. Revenue did come in line with expectation, but obviously a multi-year deal up to $1.8 billion. Good news here for Akamai Technologies. That's why they're up big today, 17.14%. So we just looked at one of the biggest winners today on the market early in trading on this Friday. Well, now let's look at one of the biggest losers out there. Upwork is the company we are talking about right now. 18.38% right now. They were down over 23% earlier today in early market trading. Well, they announced a restructuring plan that includes reducing its workforce by 24%. Upwork said that it is doing this to make sure the company remains profitable as work evolves. It also reported first quarter earnings and revenue that did come in slightly lower than what the Wall Street people were expecting. As well, big loser today so far, at least, is Upwork, 18.38% down as of right now. And then there's a company called Iren Limited out there. Well, they're up today, 4.03%. You can see there's been a sell-off since the markets opened. If you're watching us here and see the graph, it was up over 9% here earlier today as well when the market opened. Well, they are a data center owner and operator is what this company does. They announced a deal with NVIDIA, obviously a big company. NVIDIA in this deal is to deploy up to 5 gigawatts of artificial intelligence infrastructure for NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to invest $2.1 billion into this company. Well, Iren Limited is up 4.91% here right now for them. Man, NVIDIA is just committing billions and billions of dollars to a bunch of companies out there. for them. And when we come back later and look at stocks, we're going to look at a travel stock. Well, Expedia is what we're going to look at. Then we're going to go into some, not only Expedia, but Lyft as well. I guess you can consider that a travel stock, right? As they get you around. Then we'll go restaurants here as well. Texas Roadhouse and Wendy's. We'll look at both of those stocks coming up as they're all making some news here as well. Others companies, there's a lot of companies doing reporting right now. Like Coinbase, for instance, missed their numbers and their reporting, so they're down early this morning. So lots of news out there on some of these companies and shockers here on some of them not hitting their numbers out there. But first, let's get into the national stories that you need to know. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics, well, they put out their non-farms payroll report here early this morning. Now, non-farm payrolls, if I can talk here, they rose by a seasonally adjusted 115,000 for the month. Now, that's down from the 185,000 that they said jobs were created back in March, which was a huge number in March at that time. But it is better than the 55,000 that the Dow Jones estimated it to come in at. The unemployment rate did hold at 4.3%, further proof that the labor market has reached that point where only modest job creation is needed to keep the jobless level steady. You know, the no hire, no fire model of economy that we are in. There's little growth in the labor force, but layoffs are being pretty much steady, even though we constantly are hearing of big layoffs, right? Like Upwork, 24% of their workforce going away today. Average hourly earnings, which is closely watched by the labor market health and kind of just gives us a symbol on what the market's doing. Well, it did come in lower than expected. It increases 0.2% for the month. That makes it about a 3.6% for an annual basis. That is, the estimates were 0.3%, so just underneath that, and then 3.8% on the annual side, so 0.2% down on that side. Now, what sectors led with growth? Well, healthcare. They led 37,000 new positions. That was the highest growing sector out there. Transportation and warehousing, well, that added 30,000. Retail grew by 22,000. Social assistance, that went up 17,000 jobs. And those were the biggest job growth industries. Now, of course, with up, there's down as well. So for the divisions that are down, information services, they were down 13,000 jobs. That's part of that big trend there. They've been down 342,000 jobs since November of 2022. Why? Artificial intelligence is taking a lot of those positions and job losses are happening. So that number there, that's equaled a loss of 11% of jobs during the same period. Huge losses in that information field over the last several years. It's going to continue as AI gets more and more prevalent out there. The measure that handles uh, basically a wider range number here that includes discouraged workers and those holding part time jobs for economic reasons, that actually rose to 8.2%. It's up zero point 0.2 percentage points for the month as well. So bigger numbers, better than expected. Strong jobs report number coming out today, and it kind of wasn't expected out there. So that's affecting that market with some of that growth as well here on this Friday. Then we have to go into some other things besides the war and things. Of course, tariffs are going to start being a big thing to look out for again. Couple of stories for you here, and there was a split three judge panel. This was all part of the Court of International Trade in New York. Well, they have now found, as of yesterday, the 10% global tariffs are illegal, and they found that after a small business had sued the Trump administration on those tariffs. So first, I'll tell you about the court side of it. Then I'll tell you what tariff model this is. The court ruled 2-1 that Trump overstepped the tariff power that Congress had allowed the president under the law. The tariffs are invalid and unauthorized by law, is how they wrote. The two-person majority wrote in this appeals panel. The third judge on the panel, he found that the law does allow the president more leeway on tariffs. So now, if the administration, which they will, wants to appeal this decision, it's going to first turn to the U.S. Court of Appeals for Federal Circuit. That's out of Washington, D.C., but it's basically going to the Supreme Court level here as well. So, which tariffs are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about those temporary 10% worldwide tariffs the Trump administration imposed after the Supreme Court struck down the emergency double digit tariffs that the administration had imposed last year on every country on the world, I guess, and on Earth. So these are the ones that were put into place. Remember, the Supreme Court in their ruling said, "Hey, use these tariffs, not the Emergency Powers Act." So he's done that, and now this federal court says that is illegal also. It's going to the Supreme Court again here coming up. These new tariffs, invoked under Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, they're set to expire July 24th. And remember, they have a limited time frame that they can be exercised before they go away. And don't even get to that point here coming up. So, another Supreme Court decision on tariffs coming up. So, something to keep an eye on. And now we got to go to a social media post from the president. What a shocker here. That's kind of how he communicates directly to the people out there. Well, he went to social media and he said goods from the European Union would face higher tariff rates if the EU fails to approve last year's trade framework by July 4th. This announcement appeared to be a deadline extension after the president said last Friday that EU autos would face a 25% tariff starting this week. That 25% auto tariff has not gone into effect yet. Trump made the updated announcement after what he described as a great call with the European Commission president. That's Ursula von der Leyen, is her name. But the U.S. president was displeased that the European Parliament had yet to finalize the trade agreement reached last year. And it was further complicated, as you know, by the Supreme Court saying tariffs weren't legal under that Emergency Act. And now they haven't signed it. Now threats are going back and forth. We'll have to keep our eyes on that as well, on what happens leading into the July timeframe here coming up. Why does it take another 2 months to sign the thing? Who's stalling? Somebody's stalling. EU stalling for some reason. Be interesting to see what their side of it is. And, with the Iran war going on, it's a lot of people focusing on oil out there. But, there's fertilizers, other things that are being held up there in the Strait of Hormuz. And now we kind of have numbers here. If you've been to the grocery store lately, you're certainly kind of feeling this a little bit. Global food prices, well, they're at the highest level in more than 3 years, all because of supply chain disruptions, raising the prospect of larger bills here for us, the consumers, on our food. So the United Nations Index of Food Commodity Prices, well, they gained 1.6% in April from the previous month, led higher by vegetable oils, meat, and cereals, of all things. This is all from a Friday report of the Food and Agriculture Organization's report here this morning. I said that backwards. Yeah, things are getting pricey again, folks. 2%, 2.5% higher, by the way, than just a year ago on those specific items. Now, the Iran war is a big part of this. It shut down that Strait of Hormuz, as you know, and everybody's focusing on the oil. But essential farm inputs, things like diesel, obviously diesel fuel, fertilizer, are kind of held up as well. And all of that's helping to boost the prices here in the market. So not having enough fertilizer or having expensive fertilizer, it threatens to curb farmers' productions, which of course will filter down into food costs as availability is there. If they're paying more for fertilizer, that pricing has to go somewhere out there. So, but the oil prices are a big deal here as well. Biofuels are a big issue here with food production. Well, that's also pricing has been boosted here. The demand for biofuels has boosted the price of biofuels as well. And the UN's Vegetable Oils Index, well, it's climbed 5.9% from March. And it's at its highest level since July of 2022 right now as well. So, there are other things affecting us besides just our, filling up our cars and that here from the Middle East with this Iran war situation. That Marco Rubio says expecting to hear a response from Iran later on today. So something to keep our eyes on as well. And the graduation season. I know a lot of colleges have already had their graduations. Some are coming up here over the next few weeks and month, and we know that there's a slowing labor market out there for graduates going into the market. And recent college graduates looking to begin your career, well, you're going to look in one specific type of area here if you want to find and have better luck than other areas. And we're talking about southern cities are where a lot of the jobs are for these college graduates and continues to grow, as opposed to the northern cities. There's a couple exceptions in the north. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But this is a study by ADP. They used an anonymized data to compare the 53 largest metro areas in the U.S. They focused on hiring, wages, and affordability for the workers in their 20s with college degrees. So, where is the biggest place here? Birmingham, Alabama. Tampa, Florida came in second as well. They're at the top of the list for destinations for fresh graduates embarking on careers. There's a big difference between Tampa and Birmingham, folks. Birmingham was in the 85th or higher percentile in wages, affordability, and hiring. Tampa, well, it was topping the rankings in hiring, but they did have smaller scores for wages and affordability on that side. But they are hiring like crazy. Just your wages and affordability will be a little bit less. After those two, topping the list, well, San Jose, California, Columbus, Ohio were next up in those numbers. Then, in terms of the top 10, four other cities were located in the South. Raleigh, North Carolina, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Nashville, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, also all southern cities in that top 10. I told you there was two as well that kind of on the northern side, but San Francisco and New York City were seven. Well, San Francisco was seven. New York City was 10th in this list as well. So you can see the New York City side and San Francisco, not considered a southern city, also on this list as well. So look south. Go south, young man. That's what I would say in this reporting. A report by the Wall Street Journal about the ADP study's findings noted that the analysis suggested an emerging recovery in hiring for college graduates. It's playing out basically uneven around the country, heavily weighted towards southern cities compared to northern ones. And not only that, but, you know, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, kind of on that East Coast side. West Coast, not so much over here as well, according to this study. Several prominent metro areas lost ground in their overall rankings. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baltimore, Maryland, even Austin, Texas. They were in the top 5 of the rankings last year, but they have fallen, obviously, this year out of that top 10 for them as well. So there you go, college graduates. Having problems, you want to stay in certain areas, you want to move to certain cities, you just want a high-paying job to get your career started. There you go. Look, those are the areas you should look at there, according to ADP as well. And folks, when we come back here at McCollum on Business Friday edition, we keep this rolling. We'll look at the market watch again. Stocks we're paying attention to. We got 4 coming up for your travel, and then restaurant slash fast food restaurant we'll look at in terms of those stocks, plus a bunch of local stories for you. Come on back. McCollum on Business Friday edition. back here. McCollum on Business Friday edition. Appreciate you joining us. You just saw the commercial there for The Real Matrix coming out today, noon on Rumble out there. Of course, podcast systems as well. Just search The Angry Patriot. Search The Real Matrix Angry Patriot. It'll come right up for you there on your favorite podcast systems. And of course, on the Rumble page, rumble.com/user/TME media is where you can find our programming there on Rumble. That is not on YouTube. YouTube has a problem with programming like this a lot of times. And so we've had to move it over to Rumble. Had great success over there. The Angry Patriot thanks you a lot. He just wants you to come into this show with an open mind and just kind of question what he's presenting to you out there, and like it, don't like it, but at least come in with an open mind out there as well. So that comes out noon today, new episode for them as well. And as soon as we're done here, well, we put our programming up on demand as well, both on the YouTube page, TME Media AZ. You're going to want to like and subscribe that page. We have a lot of our programming between this show and the main event is live. They're on that programming as well. Everything's on demand there as well. And then, of course, everything on demand on that Rumble page, rumble.com/user/TME media as well. As soon as we're done here, we get those posted up. We'll move into the main event live 8 to 10 a.m. as well. And then, of course, everything up on the podcast systems for you. You're going to want to follow not just and subscribe to not just the YouTube and or Rumble pages. You're going to want to also subscribe to TME Media AZ on X. That's our parent company of our production side, and it's there to give you information on the shows, what's coming up for you, what all we do around here. Give that a quick follow for us as well. We greatly appreciate that. Of course, every show except for this one and The Real Matrix has their social media pages out there. This one's going to get one coming up as well. Getting a little bit of help with that coming up here in a few weeks. So look for that to come out as well, where we'll talk business stories and the promotion of that stuff as well. We can't thank you enough for your support here. And folks, we're now continuing to grow after we kind of had to put a pause on some of the growth as we were getting pretty big pretty quickly. Well, we're starting to grow again here as we're ready to do so. And we're looking forward to it. Glad you're on board with us, and we appreciate it very much. And of course, with all that being said, with the with the Real Matrix coming out today, it's always a good Friday. Of course, the pit stop also out for this week. We get into racing this weekend. Watkins Glen truck races here tonight. Well, this afternoon, 1:30 p.m. for the truck race this weekend. Catch the pit stop as well, either on your favorite podcast system. Just search either the Pit Stop Talk or the Pit Stop with Steven. It'll pop up either way. Follow us, of course, on X, the Pit Stop Talk there as well. And, of course, catch us on demand now. Get ready for this racing weekend. And with all that being said, look, we got some big stuff to talk about here in local stories. So let's get into it with the Market Watch. As we set up this for you all day to here, looks like it's going to be a positive day today. Yesterday, markets did go backwards a little bit as the day went on. And, it's news out there, the escalation of some stuff over there in the Iran war situation. It's all been kind of an interesting time here, and what's up, what's down. But today we're starting off the market up here, 183 points up right now for the Dow Jones. S&P 500's up to 69 points for it right now as well. The Nasdaq's up 343 points right now, and you see the Russell 2K's up 20 points here. That's for that small cap index. Bitcoin, well, back above 80,000 here. Earlier it was at 79,800. Well, now it's at 80,220 for Bitcoin here on this Friday. It's settled nicely into this upper 70s and lower 80 range here. Let's see how long it continues to stay at this side. Right now, breaking news is U.S. says it struck 2 Iran-flagged oil tankers trying to get around the blockade. So let's say those escalations are still kind of there. They say the ceasefire is still good. But how is that going to affect oil prices, who have dropped this week and now are kind of remaining steady as we're waiting? Marco Rubio did say the U.S. expects Iran response on a peace deal sometime today is what he says as well. And I don't think By the way, the 10-year Treasury yield has eased up a little bit today as well with the big jobs number beat that we talked about on the U.S. payrolls increasing 115,000 in April. So overall, good news out there. We just need this Iran war situation to go away, and we'll be on our way here to a nice post-war recovery, I guess we should say here as well. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. Well, Expedia is the first one we're going to look at. They're down 8.90% here this morning. People are cutting back on their spending, etc., on things they don't need. Travel's one of them out there. The Expedia had second quarter revenue of 4.11 to 4.19 billion dollars is what it's calling for. Well, the expectation was 4.12 and anticipated by the experts out there. So it's still within that range, but they did lower that number down. Problem for Expedia is booked room nights in the first quarter missed expectations. It did come in at $113.9 billion dollars. The consensus number looked for, though, was 117.07 million. So big miss there. Booked room nights in the first quarter missed expectations. Expedia down 8.84% based off of that news right now. Rideshare app, Lyft is what we're going to look at next year. Well, it's down 0.64% right now for them. Their first quarter earnings came in at 4 cents per share. Anticipation was 6 cents per share. They did have $1.65 billion of revenue. That did beat the expectation level. The expectation was 1.63 billion for Lyft as well, but they are still down 0.71% right now here on the market. And hey, let's we don't have a food story to wrap up the show today. We've got check your couch cushions, folks. You're going to need some money for this final story we got today. But anyway, let's talk some food now. Texas Roadhouse is the next stock we're going to look at. 13.08% up. Good thing I wasn't doing anything crazy there with that switchover. 13.11% now up. They reported first quarter earnings of $1.87 per share. The expectation was only $1.80 per share for them. Same store sales at company restaurants for the first 5 weeks of the second quarter actually grew about 6.5% compared to a year earlier. So people are going to Texas Roadhouse. People are going back to Texas Roadhouse, and that's why they're up that 13.11%. And then Wendy's is what we're going to look at next. Obviously, fast food company here, 4.75% up right now. They reported better than expected revenue. Their revenue was $540.6 million in its first quarter. Analysts were expecting $518 million. Yes, folks, they blew it out of the water by over $20 million. Earnings also came in above estimates. They announced a plan to build up to 1,000 restaurants in China over the next decade. They want to get into that Chinese market where there's 1 billion people over there, continue their growth. Wendy's with that news up 3.81% right now for Wendy's as well. So lots of news out there here on this Friday, and appreciate you all joining us in. We see you there on the YouTube page, TME Media AZ as well. So we appreciate it. The Robert says, this is a valid question. Can we attribute Texas Roadhouse growth directly to Steven? You know what? I haven't been there very much lately. The last several months, we've barely, if we've been there once a month, I'd be surprised. Yeah, we've kind of cut back on it. So the answer to that is no. Before we were only going about once a week, by the way, not multiple times. But yeah, no, we've cut back. We've cut back heavily on Texas Roadhouse, to be honest with you. Good. It's a value. It's good. There's some value there, right, compared to other steakhouses. It's not, it's no Durant's or anything, but it's good. It's loud, so you can be kind of loud in there if you have young kids and things and stuff like that. But yeah, no, Robert, we've cut back a little bit on it for no reason other than we just cut back on it. That's nothing they did. Now I'm going to get all these questions of, oh no, Texas Roadhouse did something to Steven. No, that's not it, folks. I promise. Let's get into the local stories. I feel like I'm justifying my Texas Roadhouse cutback here as well. Hey, there's a company out in Mesa called Zenny Home LLC. It's officially filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy papers. Now, they did the filing a day before the scheduled court hearing on the application for appointment of a receiver, all based around a lawsuit that they are involved in. So there's a company called Indigenous Design Studio Plus Architecture LLC. They filed suit against Zenny Home earlier this year. And by the way, Zenny Home is a home builder here in the Valley, alleging misuse of $22 million in federal funds related to a modular housing project, and they filed a receivership application in Maricopa County Superior Court. What they were looking for with that was they wanted to seek the appointment of an independent receiver to take possession and control of Zenny Homes' assets, records, accounts, and financial information. The day before that hearing was scheduled, well, Zenny Home did file for liquidation bankruptcy in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of Delaware. No, so this bankruptcy filing blocks these efforts to appoint the receiver in Maricopa County Superior Court. So they basically, right, this is a ploy here to go into bankruptcy instead of fight that side of it as well. The founder of Zenny Home, his name is Bob Wolseley. He's a former Republican senator in the Arizona legislature and founder of Zenny Home. He told the Phoenix Business Journal it made more sense to have a bankruptcy trustee handle the case rather than fighting the other company for a receiver moving forward. So if you're doing business with them, well, they're going out of business here as well. And that was, like I said, that was based around a modular type of a system there for Zenny Homes as well. And this Friday is just busy, 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 including now. This is more of a knowledgeable thing. We don't kind of get into the politics side of stuff here or anything to that effect. But Cesar Chavez High School, well, the former now Cesar Chavez High School, has a new name. Just going to inform you of this. You know, we don't get into why it's being renamed and things. That's kind of your opinion there as well. But they were the Cesar Chavez champions. Controversy around Cesar Chavez multiple years after his death means a lot of things are being renamed away from him. And here in the Valley, Cesar Chavez High School has officially been renamed to Cactus Canyon High School. This measure did pass yesterday. The Phoenix Junior High School District first voted to change the high school's name back in March. Back then, Cesar Chavez has some claims of abuse and things like that from when he was alive back in the day. And so a lot of people are moving away from that name. So it was temporarily renamed to Champion Circle High School. They want to keep the initials and everything the same. So that's why, you got Champion Circle High School and now Cactus Canyon High School as well for that school. So the top five proposed names, by the way: Levine High School, Champion Community High School, then Cactus Canyon High School, with ultimately one, Levine Village High School, and then Sierra Estrella High School were the five top names. I think they nailed it with Cactus Canyon High School, to be honest with you. That seems to be the easy flowing one for them as well. So that has happened. It is officially happening as well. So just a heads up on that here in terms of high schools. And those of you in football, Cesar Chavez plays in the higher division and things. So when you see that, that's what they mean out there as well. And folks, I told you earlier to start checking your seat cushions, your couch cushions, your inside your car, your pockets. Heck, start a GoFundMe for friends as well and family. Just say, hit me up. Hey, I need $1 from everybody. I need $1 from a million of my friends is what I need from you. A Glendale auction house is going to put a very historic nugget of gold on the auction block. The Boot of Cortez is going to be available for auction. It's shaped like a conquistador's boot. You see it there on your screen if you're watching it. It's not the two guys behind it. The gold thing on the desk, just to clarify. So it's a 26.2-pound golden nugget. Now it's going to begin at EJ's Auction and Appraisal in Glendale on June 12th. 26.2 pound. And gold's at, I don't know what gold's at today, but it was trending in the 3,000 range. So a prospector discovered this boot in Mexico with a Radio Shack metal detector back in 1989. It's been a private collector since the current owner bought it in 2008 for $1.3 million. This was around 4 times the value of gold at that time. Mm-hmm. So 26.2 pounds of gold right now, today, with the current rates, is about $1.8 million dollars is what it's worth. But obviously, if it already sold for 4 times the amount of gold, well, this is going to sell for more than that as well. EJ's auction appraisers set the value between $3 and $7 million. Where do you put this at? Where do you advertise this at? Is it just like on a shelf in your living room? Okay, it weighs 383.1 troy ounces, so 11.9 kilograms for those of you more prolific in kilograms. It's 10 and 3/4 inches tall, 7 1/4 inches wide. So this way you can, know which shelf you can put it on and have enough room, folks. They also the what makes this amazing is they say it's in pristine condition. No damages, no green spots, etc., things like that. So it's a 98% gold nugget, by the way, is what it officially accounts to. Bidding registration for it is open through June 9th. Bidding will start at $1 million. You have to submit a questionnaire if you want to be a bidder, along with a $100,000 deposit in order to even sign up. Bids can be submitted in person or online. What kind of questionnaire do you have to fill out? Yeah. You can go public viewing of this boot of Cortez is going to be done at EDA's auction as well on May 20th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now, this place is up at 58th Avenue and Bell Road, EJ's auction house. So if you want to see it, May 20th, go up there, public viewing coming up for that as well. This is the largest existing gold nugget found in the Western Hemisphere as well. Found with the Radio Shack metal detector, folks, is what it was found with back in 1989. You guys aboard this? Like we've on the main event, we often do, cash calls and raises there to try to buy a pro sports team. We always get just bid out there. Like we just lost to the Padres. They just went for 3.9 billion. We were just short of that 3.9 billion window with fundraising, so everybody gets their money back. Maybe we should do some fundraising here on this program to buy a golden nugget shaped like a boot. Folks, appreciate you joining us here on this Friday. We'll be back Monday morning, 7 a.m. as well here, McCollum on Business. Come and join us. Of course, main event coming up next as well. Don't forget all of our programming on demand, TME Media AZ on YouTube. And then, of course, rumble.com/user/TME Media, where you can find The Real Matrix new episode today at noon as well. Search for us on all the podcast channels as well for you. For those of you that would rather listen to us, Podbean being one of them. And catch us there as well, folks. We appreciate everything you do for us. Share us with your friends. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.